Hey guys, my name is Nate and I'm the Otter Outdoorsman. Today we're going to talk about foraging. I've been doing a lot of it recently, and I figured before I go any further with these videos I should probably touch upon how I go about doing it, and also some of the risks that come with it, and how to mitigate those. If you notice at the bottom of all my videos where I'm basically showing off a wild edible, I've been putting disclaimers, and that's been because kind of just to protect myself, because I mean, foraging can be dangerous. I mean, if you don't identify a plant properly, it can kill you. For example, Queen Anne's lace, one plant I've been looking at, has an equivalent, which is poison hemlock. Poison hemlock, any bit of it could kill you. Just a taste of it could kill you. And while it's in its adult form, it's easy to tell the difference between. I've been finding out, for example, been using different pneumatics to learn. In its younger stage, it's really hard to tell because the leaves look exactly the same. The only way you can tell is by smelling it. So I figure I might as well start talking about what I do when I'm studying wild edibles, and kind of go about how I've been, my procedure with this. So recently, the way I've been doing it is I have kind of a two-front attack with it. My first frontal attack is generally books. I've brought a bunch out of here to show you what type of books that I use and what type of books you should have, though I'm not an expert in foraging and shouldn't be recognized as an expert in foraging. If you really want to learn it, my recommendation is go out with an expert. Find walkabouts with your local nature centers, and find local guidebooks and people if you can. I've done some of those things. I haven't gone out with an actual foraging expert yet. I'd love to. I've been looking for a class on it, but I have gone out with professors I've had. One of my professors I went out for a course with, and we went out to wetlands. It's a fun course, and there's a few wetlands we went to where there were wild edibles, and he showed them to us, showed us how to identify them, and told us, well, you can eat these. And well, that's how I learned about glasswort, which is a really odd plant. Salty but good. So generally that's a good way to start, is go with someone who knows their plants. Find plants in your area that are easy to go with, to identify. The next thing you want generally is books. I have one good book you can find for your area is Peterson Field Guides. This one is a wild edible book. I've shown this in previous videos. I kind of skim through this on occasion. It has some color plates on it, but a lot of the rest of it is black and white. I don't know if you can see that on camera, but most of it is black and white, but it does kind of tell you, it does describe to you what to look for in the plants. I really think you should have a book like this that really just explains the features of it, explains the different parts, but on top of that, black and white's really tough. So I use other books. I use other books to cross-reference. There we go. I have two local foraging guides that I've picked up recently. I've been skimming through, and I actually really love these books. Two are, because I'm in New England, I have two Northeast or New England foraging guides. These ones aren't super great for identifying plants. I mean, they have some good details in it, but they're not like in depth about it as much as the Peterson guide is, but they do kind of show it. But they also explain where you can find, what type of areas you can find these plants in, where you can, how to harvest them. These ones I really like because these ones are useful for how to harvest them, what parts you can eat on them, or what parts are the best ones on here, and also how to prepare them, which is really, really important to know. I mean, you may want to know how to cook it, or preserve it, or actually, what is it? It's this one, which has really nice color pictures, and I like pictures. But on top of it, also explains like how to do feature harvest, how to, you know, sustainably harvest and all that different stuff, which is another topic I'm going to touch upon. Other books I have, this one is just a general one, not a regional one. This book, the Forager's Harvest Guide to Identifying, Harvesting, and Preparing Edible Wild Plants. As I said, this one's similar to it, where it kind of just shows key features of, like, it shows like the berries or show the bark, but it doesn't go into really depth of the identifications. But it does explain some of it, like it does read it off, but it doesn't illustrate it. But the other thing I like about this book, and this book you can actually find, Amazon has all different areas, plants. It also explains how to prepare them, some of the risks that come with them. But one thing I really like about this book is, towards the beginning, it has a seasonal guide to it. It also explains the safety of it. This is a good starting book. I've flipped through this a lot. I should have marked this off, but here we go. It has kind of like this color guide, it's basically saying when plants are at their best and like in the beginning of their season. Not all plants in your area will be in here. Not all of them are in my area. Or all the ones in my area are not in this, so it's not super great for that, but it's good. It's a good starting spot. I have a medicinal book. I didn't bring it out with me. I forgot about it, and I already had an armful of books. I didn't feel like going back in for it. I also have a book on trees. More cross-referencing material. This one has more color pictures in it than the other one, but also has like regional stuff, like where you can find it. It also has, like, I love Peterson guides, especially ones that have like these color pictures. They're great for it. They kind of just show what are the key features you need. Now, one very, very important thing to do. If you're going to be going on field guides, get yourself something like this. It's a Peterson's Field Guide to Venomous Animals and Poisonous Plants. These books will show you pictures of it, they'll show you how to identify them. My medicinal book's actually a lot better for it than those are. But it explains, like, for example, it's funny that I flipped this because I actually have some pokeweed. It's a poisonous plant, though is apparently also, if prepared right, edible. But that's after you cook it to hell and back. So having multiple books like these, I'll put links to these down at the bottom. To the books that I have, especially if you're in New England. The two of them, the Northeast books, they're great. I love them. What else was I going to touch upon? Yeah, but finding an expert, it's good. Getting out there, learning to identify. One of the ways that I remember to do it is actually the taste of the wild edible ones I've identified. It helps lock it into my memory. So I was practicing And I remembered the other part I wanted to touch upon that I forgot about midway through shooting this foraging video. It's the next day. I've been doing bow drill work. So I wanted to talk about future harvest and harvesting sustainably. When harvesting, it's a very important thing to do, because preserving a resource, even if it's a survival situation, and if you're just doing it for practice, don't harvest everything. Learn how to harvest plants sustainably. For example, Indian cucumber, a plant I've recently learned to identify. It's delicious. If you harvest the root, which is the edible part of it, it kills the plant, flat out. And that plant no longer will reproduce. So what you gotta need to learn to do is only harvest when you see an abundance of them. But as I talked about in my Know Your Resources blueberry one, harvesting blueberries, you can harvest as many berries as you want without hurting the plant. But in that case, when we're harvesting sustainably, you still don't want to take all the berries. There's other animals out there that eat it, and it's good because if you don't harvest all of them, that allows more seeds to get spread, which means more blueberries. And if you like blueberries, it's a good thing. But if you go ahead and harvest everything and hurt the plant, that makes it harder for you to go back and harvest in the future. I mean, I could harvest from one of these sassafrases I have sitting next to me. I could harvest leaves here and there, as long as I don't harvest too many of them for a thickening agent. But if I harvest the roots from these mature plants, I'd hurt the plant, which could potentially kill it. And I don't think my father would like that. He loves these plants. It's a plane flying over, so bear with me. But if you need the roots for a decoction, the cool thing about sassafras is they get a lot of smaller sassafrases around them. So if you let them get kind of big, what that kind of allows you to do is then harvest the younger sassafrases around it for roots, so you can make a nice decoction. So learning to harvest sustainably is not just important for going green. It makes things more efficient. It makes it better for the future for you, and for future generations, and for nature itself. Because we aren't the only ones out there. And I mean, I don't want to seem like a hippie with this, because I'm not. I just like thinking sustainably. And being sustainable allows us to be more self-reliant. It's just like with, say, even animal harvests. If we went out there and over-harvested a certain animal, that animal could go extinct, or locally extinct. An animal doesn't have to disappear from the earth to be considered extinct. It just has to be, there's something called local extinction, which basically means that animal is no longer in that area, and can't get back to that area unless we introduce it, which does happen. Same with endangered. I mean, we do have rattlesnakes in my area in New England, mostly in Mass, where I'm at. Over in the Blue Hills and a few other places, we have timber rattlesnakes. But they're locally endangered. They're not nationally endangered. for internationally endangered. They're actually pretty abundant further south. But in New England, in Massachusetts specifically, they're considered endangered because there aren't that many of them. And it would be irresponsible of me to harvest one. As much as I want to try rattlesnake, I really do. I hear it's good. But I think even in a survival situation, I wouldn't even harvest a rattlesnake around here. I don't know, because in a survival situation it'd be, I'd probably be hungry. But also I have a thing about handling dangerous creatures without training. But I have some training towards more dangerous animals like snapping turtles. I've handled a couple baby alligators, but nothing too big. Rattlesnakes I've never handled, never had to. But you gotta think of what's in your area, and you gotta think, well, if I harvest these, how's it gonna hurt the environment? And being bushcrafters, doing woodcraft, doing survival, just being an outdoorsman or a woodsman, even a trapper, we need to think sustainably. And I think sometimes some trappers and hunters are some of your best conservationists and best naturalists, because, up here we don't have any megafauna that prey on deer. Occasionally coyotes will take one down, but it's not like the wolves that used to be here before they were wiped out. So we have to use hunters as a replacement. And some people I've discussed with believe, well, why don't we release wolves back here? But they wouldn't. We don't have enough woods around here for them, in my area at least. But yeah, sustainably harvesting is very important. I'll put this back. I'll just put this in the middle of where I kind of blanked for a second. Anyways, see you in the past. Anyways, knowing wild edibles in your area is very useful. While I don't think foraging is, in my area at least, a year-round sustainable food source. So if I had to live in the woods for a period of time, it isn't a stable food source in my area. I could eat nuts, I could eat berries and roots and whatever for a period of time, but those take I'd have to be harvesting a lot of them, and I also have to think about the winter. Here in New England, we get pretty deep snow. Wild edibles are far and few between during the winter. If there's no snow on the ground, generally things like onion, to my understanding, is available. Wintergreen's available year-round. Actually, it's berrying in the winter. And white pine. Those are pretty much your common plants around here that are available in the winter. Wintergreen and white pine. Most of the other ones, the leaves have dropped, the fruit are gone, or they're just not common. You're not going to find them in droves like during blueberry season, where you can literally walk through a patch and just get a handful of blueberries and actually spend time harvesting them. But it's good to know them, because you can learn their properties, you can learn what they're good for, and they're also a great way of flavoring your food or enhancing your food. but there are some risks to work with on it. You gotta know the poisonous plants. For example, again, poison hemlock, poison sumac. Those ones have very similar plants. And maybe I'll show you a couple quick plants that I have around that apparently have some risk to them. And I can actually show you here in my backyard. So, I'll show you in a second. Okay folks, so here we have sassafras. I'll do some more videos on this in the future. The way you can generally tell is by three different shaped leaves. You have the spade, the mitt, and the glove, and there's usually also a mitt around here, but for some reason there isn't. This plant, the roots can be used as a decoction, leaves can be used as soup thickener, but there are studies that show that this plant also can have has a carcinogen in it. So it's kind of risk reward what you decide with it. I like the taste of it. They actually make candy flavored like this, and it's delicious. It's my father's favorite one of my father's favorite candy, and I actually enjoy it too. Sassafras has a lot of medicinal things, but I'm not going to get into that right now. I'm not a doctor. See if I can find you another plant around here that is apparently edible. Okay guys, this is pokeweed. This is a toxic plant. Bears it once it's fruits, it's deadly. But one of the benefits of it is you can apparently eat it when young shoots, and you basically, the instructions I read for it was boil it until it's not bitter anymore, essentially. So one last useful thing to identify plants with is the internet, YouTube. What I've been doing is if I have a plant I'm curious about how to harvest, or what I should do with it or whatever, I actually YouTube it. There's a lot of good people out there that are shooting videos on how to harvest it, and sometimes they bring in those little tricks. And it's good to have pneumatics for different plants, like when you use, again, poison hemlock and Queen Anne's lace. The trick I learned with that was the queen has hairy legs, which basically means the stalk on the Queen Anne's lace is furry, as opposed to the poison hemlock, which is smooth. So, if I can think of anything else that I'm meaning to put into this video, I will either note it down below, or I will post another video on it, because I'm drawing a blank right now, which happens. But yeah, my name's Nate. I'm the Otter Outdoorsman. Just a quick little ramble on wild edibles. Show you a couple that potentially have risk. I'm the Otter Outdoorsman. You have a good day.